IOE 413, Game Theory in Healthcare Study Guide. Consider the two-person zero-sum game defined by the following payoff matrices, A and B. This problem wants you to find the, quotes, security strategies for each player. Now the payoff matrix for player 1 is A. And since it's a zero-sum game, the payoff matrix for player 2 is going to be negative A. So that's why we say down here, B is equal to negative A. Let's begin computing security strategies by considering player 1. So if player 1 selects strategy 1, that corresponds to this row. And what we do is we look to see what strategy player 2 could play that would provide the worst return to player A. Okay? And that would be the 0 here, because if player 1 chose strategy 1, player 2 has the option of strategy 1 or 2 and would choose 1 to create the worst return, the worst payoff for player 1. So I'll write 0 over to the side here. Now if player 1 chooses strategy 2, player 2 would again choose strategy 1 to get the negative 1 payoff to player 1 here, because that's the worst of these two options here, negative 1 and 0. It's negative 1. Now what we do in finding security strategies is we have player 1 look to see which of these two of the worst outcomes, okay, is better. And the best of these two to the side here is 0, since 0 is larger than negative 1. And that means that the security strategy, I star for player 1, is 1. The security strategy is 1. Now let's look at player 2. Now we're looking at columns, down columns rather than across rows. And we ask ourselves, if player 2 chose strategy 1, which would be this column, player 1 would choose strategy 1 to give the lesser of these payoffs to player 2, 0 or 1. The lesser one would be this. Okay, let's write down at the bottom here. And if player 2 chooses strategy 2, then player 1 would choose strategy 1 to give the worst of the two outcomes here, negative 1 or 0. In this column, we have negative 1. Bring that down here. And then what we do is we look to see what is the better of these two. And the better of 0 and negative 1 is, of course, 0. Therefore, J star, the security strategy for player 2, is also equal to 1. This problem is done.